And the fact of the matter is, we watched this get right in front of our own face.
Katt Williams just shook the internet. Again! The 52-year-old comedian, known for never biting his tongue, lit up the rumor mill with a wild take on Michael Jackson's death, and it's got everybody talking.
He knew it was finna happen. He told us, and we didn't know. He named his last tour, This Is It.
In a resurfaced video that's gone viral, Katt didn't hold back. He hinted that Michael Jackson wasn't just another tragic overdose story. He believes something way darker went down. According to Katt, powerful people in the industry planned MJ's downfall from the jump. Katt dropped some serious claims, saying MJ knew he was being targeted, and he tried to warn us. He pointed out how MJ named his final tour This Is It like he was giving the world a sign. Katt said it wasn't just a title, it was a message. Jackson allegedly knew he wouldn't make it to another show, and the tone MJ used when announcing that tour? Katt says he sounded drained, broken, and done fighting the demons behind the curtain of the industry. And guess what? Katt wasn't the only one with these suspicions. Tons of fans flooded the comments agreeing with him. One fan called him a prophetic comedian. Another wrote, "For years, Michael Jackson was telling the world about the evil things going on within the industry. They assassinated his legacy when he finally decided enough was enough." Fans also couldn't help but connect Katt's own career troubles to his bold attitude. Some believe the industry tried to cancel Katt for being too real, too loud. "This is why they tried to silence him," one fan wrote. "He was speaking on stuff they didn't want out." Another commenter got emotional, sharing how hard MJ's passing hit them. "I cried like a baby when I heard he was gone," they said. "I called my mama and bawled. I'm tearing up right now." Let's rewind to what actually happened. Michael Jackson was found unresponsive at his Los Angeles home. His doctor, Conrad Murray, tried CPR, but MJ's pulse was barely there. Paramedics rushed him to the hospital, but it was too late. He was gone. The world stood still. The coroner later confirmed the pop legend died from a lethal combo of surgical anesthetics and antidepressants. The twist? It was Dr. Murray who gave him that powerful mix the night before. And shockingly, he didn't even tell the hospital or the medics when they tried to save MJ's life. The autopsy revealed he gave MJ an extremely dangerous dose, and fans were furious. People demanded justice. The outrage exploded, and soon Dr. Murray was facing court for voluntary manslaughter. He told reporters, "I have done all that I can do to help the police. I told the truth, and I have faith the truth would prevail." But the damage was done. MJ was gone. His fans were devastated. And now, with Katt Williams digging all this back up again, the whispers are turning into full-blown screams. What really happened to the King of Pop? Was it just a tragic accident, or something far more sinister hiding in plain sight? Dr. Conrad Murray's trial dragged on for 6 intense weeks, and when the jury finally got 2 extra days to decide, the world held its breath. Then, on November 29th, 2011, boom, Murray was found guilty of voluntary manslaughter and hit with a 4-year prison sentence, but not everybody was clapping. The prosecution came in hard, saying Murray's actions were the direct reason Michael Jackson lost his life. They pushed for a tougher punishment. But Murray's defense team tried to play it soft, saying he didn't have a criminal record and should just get probation. Probation! That only added fuel to fans' rage. MJ's supporters and family were furious. They believed the punishment was way too light for the damage done. And that's when the rumors went wild, one theory that picked up serious steam. Michael Jackson's death wasn't an accident at all. It was a setup. People started saying Murray might have been part of a bigger plan to take MJ out. Fans were asking tough questions. Why would a licensed doctor give dangerously high doses of sedatives when he knew the risks? And how come he didn't tell the paramedics or hospital staff about the meds MJ took that night? That silence raised red flags everywhere. A lot of people started to believe Dr. Murray wasn't acting alone. Some thought he was promised protection, or even a nice payout if he took the fall. Others believed he was just a pawn, a fall guy for the elite powers that really wanted MJ gone. And Michael's sister, LaToya Jackson, she wasn't staying quiet. She showed up at every court session side by side with her family and kept speaking out online. In a fiery tweet, she begged witnesses to come forward. "There are wives, girlfriends, and employees who know exactly what happened to Michael. Please come forward and tell what really happened." She wasn't done there. LaToya also hinted that Murray knew the full story but was too scared to talk, scared of whoever was really pulling strings behind the scenes. "Dr. Murray is a very small piece of the puzzle," she wrote. "I feel like screaming. Murray knows exactly what happened at Carolwood and who else is behind all of this." And then she dropped the money bomb. LaToya said it straight. MJ was eliminated for his fortune. But she made one thing clear: her family had nothing to do with it. "Whenever someone is murdered, you follow the money trail," she tweeted. "The family has absolutely nothing to do with his estate." That line split the fan base. Some fans totally backed LaToya, saying everything added up. Murray had to be involved. Others, though, weren't so convinced. A small group believed Murray was just doing his job as MJ's doctor and was made the scapegoat by the media and law enforcement. They pointed to MJ's well-known struggle with sleep and pain meds, saying he'd been battling those demons for years. In fact, his own family reportedly tried to intervene back in 2007. With so many loose ends and voices clashing, one thing's clear, man: this story was never simple, and for many it still isn't over. When Michael Jackson's family tried to stage an intervention back in the day, they didn't even make it past the gates. Security turned them away cold. And after MJ passed, reports surfaced that his home was packed with medication, many of them under fake names. One 2004 police report even claimed the king of pop was taking up to 40 anti-anxiety pills. That's no typo. With that kind of detail, some fans were convinced Dr. Conrad Murray was just caught in the storm. They argued he didn't mean for any of it to happen and should have walked away with just a slap on the wrist. But not everyone was buying that soft take, especially Paris Jackson. MJ's daughter didn't mince words. Just like her aunt LaToya, Paris believed something way bigger was at play. In a powerful interview with Rolling Stone, she dropped a bombshell. "Absolutely. My dad was eliminated because it's obvious. All arrows point to that," she said. "It sounds like a total conspiracy theory, and it sounds like BS, but all real fans and everybody in the family know it. It was a setup. It was BS." That's straight from Paris, no filter. But here's the twist. Unlike LaToya, Paris didn't blame Dr. Murray alone. She didn't think this was some solo act. Nah, to her, it was a whole chess game with powerful players moving behind the scenes. She hinted that many people had their hands in it, people with big money, big motives, and big influence over MJ's estate. And Paris? She hinted she knows way more than she's saying, but she's keeping quiet. For now. "It's a chess game," she said. "I'm trying to play the chess game the right way, and that's all I can say about that right now." That's deep. She knows the stakes are high. One wrong move and the whole board flips. In her eyes, the folks who took out her dad are still lurking in the shadows, too powerful to be named without serious consequences, but she hasn't given up. Paris said she's waiting until she has enough power of her own to fight back and expose what really happened. "I definitely do want justice," she told Rolling Stone. "And if I don't get it now, maybe one day I will. The pain still lingers. They always say time heals, but it really doesn't," she admitted. "You just get used to it. I live life with the mentality of, okay, I lost the only thing that has ever been important to me." That pain is still real. Now enter Janet Jackson, the youngest Jackson sibling and someone who adored her brother deeply. But she chose a totally different path. Janet couldn't deal with the nonstop drama, media chaos, and conspiracy noise. It overwhelmed her. So she did what many wish they could do. She turned off the TV and shut out the world. "The whole thing was driving me crazy," she said. "People can have rhinoceros skin, but at some point, something's gonna hurt you. Not everyone is made of stone." Janet said she only got updates from her chef. That's how far she disconnected. Instead, she focused on remembering the good. Her last moment with Michael was just 2 days before her birthday at a family get-together on May 14th. The house was filled with laughter and energy, kids running around, and Michael teasing her over Thai food. It was classic sibling love, raw and real. After the party, Janet kept calling him, telling him how perfect the day was. Just days later, she flew to Atlanta to film Why Did I Get Married? And that's where she got the devastating call. MJ was gone. She rushed back to LA and joined the rest of the Jackson family in mourning. The private ceremony was packed with emotion, but one moment cut deeper than the rest. A then 11-year-old Paris walked up to the microphone and, holding on to Janet for strength, whispered through tears, "Daddy has been the best father you could ever imagine." It was a moment that broke the room. After that heartbreaking memorial, Janet Jackson had one thing to say: she was proud of her niece, Paris. The Scream hitmaker praised the way Paris stepped up and honored her dad in front of the whole world. "People told me that Michael's daughter speaking really gave them a sense of who he was as a father," Janet shared. And about Paris, she's incredibly smart. She's a sweet girl. Janet said the kids were doing okay, surrounded by their cousins and family love, something she believed would help them heal. But after that emotional moment, Janet didn't stick around for the headlines. She said a few words to the press and flew straight back to Atlanta to finish filming Why Did I Get Married Too? For her, throwing herself into work was the only way to cope. She poured her pain into music, dropped new albums, starred in ads, and rocked concerts. But even through the spotlight, she still misses her brother deeply and hopes to reunite with him someday. Unlike Janet, though, not everyone in the Jackson orbit kept it calm. In true Ye fashion, he jumped into the MJ controversy with one of his most chaotic tweets ever. He hinted at foul play behind MJ's passing and claimed he got inside info from Michael himself. He even dragged his now ex-wife Kim Kardashian into the mix, saying she saved their kids and that MJ warned him before his death. MJ told you about Tommy before they killed him, Kanye tweeted. Kim saved my daughter's life. In the name of Jesus, it's God's choice. Only I will live for my children. Chris, I'm in Cody. If you're not planning another one of your children's Playboy shoots, yeah. That's what he actually posted. Kanye was pointing the finger at Tommy Mottola, former Sony CEO and MJ's longtime industry rival. Michael had beef with Tommy for years, accusing him of being one of the shady execs mistreating black artists and pulling the strings behind closed doors. Back in 2002, MJ even called out Tommy on camera at a press conference. He dropped one of his boldest statements ever, saying, "Record companies really do conspire against their artists. They steal, they cheat, they do whatever they can, especially from black artists." Then he dropped the name Sony, Tommy Mottola. He's mean, he's a racist, and he's very, very, very devilish. Michael didn't stop there. He showed a poster with a cartoon of Tommy Mottola, devil horns, pitchfork, the works, and held up a bold sign that read, "Sony Music Kills." Fans were shook. This wasn't a joke. MJ was making it clear that he believed powerful forces were sabotaging him. One reason for the beef, MJ was reportedly furious with Sony for refusing to promote his 2001 Invincible album. Another reason? The label allegedly blocked the release of a song MJ had dedicated to victims of the 9/11 attacks. While many dismissed Kanye's tweets as more wild rants, a portion of fans thought twice. They believed Ye was dropping coded truths. After all, he's not just any celebrity. He's a major player in the industry himself, someone with access to people and info the average person would never hear about. And he's never been afraid to say the things others won't. So was Kanye connecting the dots or just spiraling again? Either way, the whispers around MJ's passing weren't going away. They were only getting louder. Michael Jackson didn't just accuse the industry of mistreating artists, he came for their throats. He called out record labels for using black entertainers and leaving them broke even after years of hits. They steal, they cheat, they do everything they can, especially the black artists, MJ said. He pointed to legends like James Brown and Sammy Davis Jr., saying they had to keep touring just to stay afloat. If they stop, they starve, he warned. If you fight for me, you're fighting for all black people, dead and alive. But things really got heated when MJ's talks with Sony over the rights to his master recordings fell apart. He ended up stuck in a contract with the label, and he was furious, so furious in fact, that he refused to tour with his album Invincible. And that wasn't all. He once accused Tommy Mottola, Sony's head honcho at the time, of calling a black artist the N-word. Now, not everyone had MJ's back. His friend Reverend Al Sharpton agreed with Michael's general message about black artists being mistreated, but he wasn't cool with the personal shots fired at Mottola. "I've known Tommy for over 15 years, Sharpton said. I've never seen or heard him say anything racist. He was actually one of the first record execs to support black music causes." Sony quickly jumped in too, defending their CEO hard. They released a public statement saying MJ's comments were ludicrous and hurtful. They painted Mottola as a solid professional who helped many artists, including MJ, and accused the pop icon of abusing his fame to smear a hard-working executive. They even hinted that MJ's frustration probably had nothing to do with the promotion of Invincible, and more to do with issues he wasn't talking about. Reverend Sharpton later admitted he got a flood of calls from music insiders and big-name artists who were disappointed in MJ's outburst. But fans weren't turning on him. They rallied behind their king. Supporters said MJ wasn't crazy, as he just wasn't media trained. He didn't sugarcoat his message, and that's why it came off raw and fiery. But they believed every word. If nothing was wrong, he wouldn't have said it, one fan wrote. Many believed that MJ's soft-spoken nature meant something major had to trigger him to speak up like that. They didn't just stop with Sony and Mottola either. Some fans took it way further, saying MJ had been marked by the Illuminati, the so-called secret group behind the entertainment world. According to these wild theories, MJ had been revealing too much, pulling back the curtain on things that were never meant to be exposed. And that made him dangerous. They believed MJ was the only artist bold enough to go toe-to-toe with Sony and drag their biggest exec through the mud, in public. If he could shine that spotlight on their darkest corners, what else might he reveal? That's why some say they carefully plotted to silence him, for good. But hold on, there's more. Another out there theory claimed MJ had already passed away in 2007, and that the person who showed up at the O2 Arena to promote the This Is It tour was just a body double. Fans swore the man on stage looked taller, had different hands, and seemed way off. He arrived super late, 90 minutes behind schedule, gave a quick speech, led a short chant of "This is it," and then vanished. The theories might sound wild, but for many fans, they're not that far-fetched. With how deep MJ's industry ties ran and how vocal he became in his final years, they're convinced the truth is still being covered up, and they're not done digging. Just when you thought the theories couldn't get wilder, they did. Some folks out there swear Michael Jackson didn't pass away at all, and instead, he's been hiding out in Mexico. That's right, one man even claimed he saw MJ crossing the border on the exact day the world was told he had died. But up until now, nobody in Mexico has come forward with any solid proof of sightings of the King of Pop, and it doesn't stop there. One of the most outrageous and flat-out bizarre theories tied MJ's death to none other than former Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. According to this claim, the whole thing was a political distraction. Back then, the Iranian leader was facing massive protests and growing unrest in his country. But when Michael's death made global headlines, attention shifted instantly. These theorists say the timing was just too perfect, suggesting that the former president somehow staged MJ's demise to take the heat off himself. Sounds wild? That's because it is. But wait, there's more. Another theory that made serious rounds was that MJ faked his death because he was drowning in debt. Some believe that vanishing from the public eye was the only way he could escape the pressure from creditors and get a fresh start. According to this theory, he staged the whole thing and dipped out to some hidden island, far from the flashing cameras and social media buzz, just living life in peace. But here's the cold hard fact. The Los Angeles coroner's office officially confirmed that the man in the casket was indeed Michael Jackson. No doubles, no tricks, no lookalikes. That hasn't stopped the theorists, though. Not by a long shot. Many fans still hold on to the belief that MJ was a victim of a brutal, unforgiving music industry. Some even wish he'd never let the world in so deep. Maybe then, he'd still be here today, lighting up stages with that legendary moonwalk and voice. One fan put it this way: if you really sit and think about what he went through, I mean really think about it, it's heartbreaking. What those accusers did to him for money, I agree 100%. Another voice added, absolutely agree. You fight the wrong so hard, it consumes you. Then when the silence hits, you realize how broken you've become, and you wonder when it even happened. Even though he's no longer here in the physical, fans agree on one thing: Michael Jackson lives on in their hearts, his music and his legacy. One loyal supporter said it best: Michael will live on forever through all the people who loved him, period. And with that, we're wrapping up today's deep dive into the mystery, the controversy, and the impact of the King of Pop. If this video hit you in the feels or made you see things in a whole new way, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks for watching, Shazia, and we'll see you on the next one.